Excellent. All right. First of all, grads, thank you for taking the time to share your wisdom and insights with our current Benny Johnny students. The plan here is we'll start with a quick introduction, and then I have a series of questions that we'll ask. We'll kind of start with the present, what you're doing, then we'll think about how did you get here, your experiences from the past, and if we have time, we'll think about the future and where your careers and your career fields are headed. So let's start with a brief introduction, just who you are and what your current job title is. And we'll go kind of in order. So Callie, if you want to start.
And Don will start the recording.
Sorry, Don.
Hi guys, my name's Callie Kohler. I graduated from St. Ben St. John's 2010, so I'm officially the oldest panelist here. I am actually a chiropractor with a diplomate in sports medicine through the American Board of Chiropractic Physicians. I own my own practice in Elk River, Minnesota, and I ended up marrying a Johnny, and we got 2 little boys who are 4 and almost 2.
Awesome. Jake.
All right. Hi. Good afternoon. My name's Jake. I graduated from St. John's in 2017. I was a dietetics major, and I am currently a outpatient dietitian for North Point Health and Wellness, and that's located in North Minneapolis. So we're kind of like an outpatient to HCMC, downtown Minneapolis. It's great to have you all here.
Excellent. Clean.
All right, I'm Colleen. I graduated in 2014. I was a biology major, exercise science minor. I went on to physical therapy school, and I work in an outpatient setting down in Rock Island, Illinois, in the Quad City region, if anyone's familiar with that, probably the furthest away. I currently am clinic manager. The company I work for, Rock Valley, is out of mid-sized, probably have 50 clinics throughout the Midwest. So.
Yes.
There, I got it. Wrong button. I'm Jess. I graduated in 2007, so I may be the oldest one here. I am a physical therapist, and I work in Wilmer, and we are now Centricare. So I work outpatient mostly, and we cover in the hospital as well. I have a certification in lymphedema therapy and pregnancy and postpartum physical therapy as well.
Excellent. All right, so first question then is, tell us about your roles and responsibilities, as well as the type of people you work with and the types of environments you work in. So Jess, we'll start with you and we'll work our way backwards.
Okay, I'm an outpatient and I see adults. We do have pediatric therapists here, but I think maybe the youngest I've seen is like an 11-year-old, and then I've seen patients in their 90s, both in outpatient and some in inpatient. And the hospital here is just acute care. So we see people who are in the hospital for a shorter term stay. And the goals with that is to get them to a safe environment from the hospital. So whether they need to go back home or if they have to go to an assisted living or a nursing home setting. When I'm in outpatient, most of my, I see a lot of different things, a wide variety, because we're in a rural setting. So I see joint pain, a lot of back pain and neck pain and headaches. And then I do work with pregnant women, and I see patients for cancer rehab. And that sometimes includes lymphedema, which can happen after some cancers and for other reasons too. Is that all of the questions?
That's great. Okay. And so then let's go. So Colleen.
Yeah, so my answer is pretty similar to Jess in terms of outpatient setting as well. So I see anyone from probably, the youngest I've seen is probably about 8 or 7, up to in the 90s. So any orthopedic condition or a lot of post-surgical care as well. One of my coworkers does work with Parkinson's patients with the Big and Loud program, it's called. So there's kind of a specific program that they do. I don't specialize in that, but yeah, we'll see kind of any orthopedic condition. And then as clinic manager, I'm also a little bit on the more the business side, so looking at metrics on a day-to-day basis and just making sure we're managing my colleagues and that things are running well business-wise.
All right, Jake.
All right. So I work with a variety of different ages of patients. It could be anywhere from 3 to 4-year-olds all the way up to the geriatric stages of life. I also do nutrition assessments that are referred by doctors or nurse practitioners, and I do mainly preventative. So I work with a lot of individuals who were recently diagnosed with prediabetes. It could be hypertension, fatty liver, a lot of things like that. And then I also sprinkle in perinatal, so pregnant people's, as well as diabetes. And we have that part of our like responsibilities. We also teach classes. So we do prediabetes classes, diabetes classes, hypertension. So those are some fun times to get a big group of people in there. And my community I work with is very diverse. So we see a ton of people of color. We work with anybody you could imagine. So a lot of Spanish speaking and Hmong speaking patients.
Excellent. Kelly.
And I am in a private practice setting. So in Elk River, again, I see everyone from days old babies to my oldest patient, I think, is 104 right now. I do like mainly the athletes. So I work directly kind of with the Elk River football team and the athletic association. So I do treat a lot of athletes in that regard, but whole families, multiple generations. We really do a more of an integrative approach in our office. So rehab, physical therapy is very much included. And we work directly, like actually with Twin Cities Orthopedics here in Otsego and a couple other local physical therapy centers working in conjunction. So we try to have a multifaceted approach to care especially when warranted. Also in our office too, we do a lot of like nutrition focus, and so not just general chiropractic. I'm a different kind of practice in terms I do scheduled appointments and they're not like the quick in and out. So I only will see X amount of people per day for longer periods of time to really have a whole body faceted approach.
Excellent. So out to the audience, any questions for our panelists at this time? Okay, we'll continue on with the questions then. All right, so what is the best part of your job and why? And the second part is, if you could wave your magic wand and change something about your job that you don't necessarily like or don't enjoy, what would it be? So let's start with Kelly.
I think I won't speak for everyone, but I think most people agree the best part of our job is helping people. You get into this field to help people achieve whatever they need to achieve. So seeing that day-to-day difference, especially for me, like when a patient can walk in here not standing up straight and walk out or not have a headache, it's an instant gratification. So helping people and seeing the relief they get is why we do it. I think my magic wand would, and this is a can of worms, but would wave its wand at insurance and work on changing that piece, because unfortunately that limits a lot of times what people can afford for care, what people are allowed to receive for care, and insurance is an awful beast that unfortunately I don't like in some regards and wish I could fix.
Jake?
Yes, I have to agree. Yeah, the best part of the job is, watching change in patients. I used to work in a hospital in St. Paul, and it was just really, you see the patient maybe 1 or 2 times, and they'll be discharged, and you'll never see them again. So working in outpatient's been amazing to watch the progress and watching individuals change lifestyle habits. Everyone has to eat, so watching people change their eating habits, exercise habits, and seeing labs go down is probably my favorite thing. And building rapport with patients is amazing as well. Magic wand, I agree with the insurance piece. It is very, it is frustrating anywhere you go, but I think specifically my profession in the dietetics realm, it's a tough journey. We are viewed as healthcare professionals, and it's continuing to get better and better, but in 2023, in order to become a dietitian, you're gonna have to get a master's, and what we're trying to do is keep up with other healthcare professionals. So I feel like just continuing to being an advocate has been tough. So my magic wand is, just being able to get there compared to everyone else. So.
Clean.
Okay. Pretty similar to everyone else as well, but I think one thing cool about the company I work for is we get, we're one-on-one with patients for about 40 minutes. So just the length of time we get to spend with them, there's such a diversity, even though you might be seeing the same maybe diagnosis, the individual really makes it fun and rewarding, getting just to get to know these people really well and the rapport you get to make. And then I'll say insurance as well, but also kind of notes sometimes. A lot of note taking and just documentation can get in the way of some things. So if I could wave my magic wand, that would be one thing as well.
Jess?
The best part of this job, I think, is seeing the patient successes. Like when they come back in and say, oh, my pain in my leg is much better. I can load the dishwasher without having pain. Those small things that we can celebrate with our patients, I think, is really fun. And also getting to know the patients well. We see patients for 45 minutes to an hour at a time, which is really nice. You get to know more details about the patients and what really they're struggling with or what things they want to be able to do better, not just make their pain go away, but allow their function to improve. And then the magic wand, if I could get all of my patients to do everything I asked them to do the first time, that would make my life a lot easier. But it sometimes is really hard to convince people to follow through.
All right. So again, looking out to the audience, questions? Don't be shy. I think they're trusting me to come up with really great questions here. So we'll move on to the next one. So the students in this class are, many of them are kind of searching for careers, trying to figure out what it is they want to do down the road. In class, they're going to do a project where they're going to learn about different careers, but they're also going to learn a lot about themselves. They're going to do some different surveys and things to learn about their values and their strengths and their gifts that they bring to the world. And then we're going to overlap that with different careers and what careers require of people. So in that spirit, what knowledge, skills, or qualities are critical for somebody who is doing your job, to be successful doing your job? So Jess.
Okay, that's a big question. I think when I think about being my job, I feel like I'm not just a PT. I feel like I'm a coach. I have to encourage a coach and a cheerleader at the same time because you have to encourage all your patients. I have to be a teacher. I have to explain in a way that they can understand what they need to do and why. And I think that the why part makes a big difference with getting compliance with patients. I have to be a salesman also and like get them to buy into what I'm selling. I think you also have to be problem solving every day with every patient and being creative because every patient is different and every patient needs different things. And then back to like, you spend a lot of time with patients. Like 45 minutes is a long time to talk to somebody, and then seeing them 2 or 3 times a week for many weeks at a time. You have to be able to make small talk and then be a good listener too. And then off of that, I also feel like some days I'm a psychologist. So that might be something to consider. It's really important to build those relationships with patients.
Pretty similar to Jess, but I think the biggest thing is just the listening and communication skills. And I think that's where, as I've developed through my career, that's been the biggest improvement. And you can see that difference when you're now working with patients and they're able to buy in because you're communicating better, you're giving them that why and educating them. I mean, we could give them exercises all day, but if we're not telling them why this is really important and how it's changing their body, like they said, they're not going to buy in. Being empathetic, and then also critical thinking. There's a lot of gray area in PT. You come out of school thinking a lot of black and white, but you have to problem solve and be a critical thinker and really think on your feet as you go.
Yep, and I agree with everyone that's talked so far. It's kind of similar in the way. Regarding my profession, you know, there's a lot of opportunities. So, you know, if you're very outgoing, you can find a job as a dietitian, working with maybe athletes or maybe in a gym. If you're really great at being organized, and well, you have to be organized everywhere. But if you wanted to be really organized and like run something, you could work in leadership. You could be in food service. You know, making recipes as a food scientist. So there's a lot of avenues you can go as a dietitian. So I feel like everyone has strengths, and as a dietitian, you will be able to find your niche in the profession because there's a lot of opportunity there.
Got it.
Unfortunately, ditto to pretty much what everybody said. Anytime you're kind of in healthcare, the empathy, the compassion, but like the salesmanship, the coaching, the encouragement with patients. In regards to chiropractic, I'm going to add in one more. I'm going to say you have to be a little bit thick-skinned. Their chiropractic does have depend on who you talk to, non-believers and this kind of thing. So you got to be able to stand up and know your stuff and know your ground and explain the evidence and the science and the research behind it, and give chance of people to experience for themselves, but also let those comments kind of roll off you and just roll off your shoulder and move on and not be offended with it.
Great. All right, one more time for students. Questions at all? Okay, we'll continue on. So now we're going to start thinking back a little bit in terms of how did you get to be where you are now? Okay. In your response, address how you decided that this is the career that you wanted to go into, and maybe what experiences that you had along the way that maybe weren't necessarily a direct path to where you are, but maybe contributed to where you ended up. So, Kelly, let's start with you.
Well, I'm going to blame organic chemistry at St. Ben St. John's because it made me develop migraines. And I ended up going to my medical doctor my sophomore year, and she wanted to give me an antidepressant to help with my migraines, but I wasn't depressed. So I ended up seeing a chiropractor. Never been in my life. She fixed my migraines and wanted me to do patient care hours for her over the summer. It was like, great, paid patient care hours, because originally I was always going to do PA school with an emphasis in ortho. Went through St. Ben St. John's, ended up working for this chiropractor on my summers home, figured out, hey, I kind of like this natural approach to things versus medical, applied to PA school. And chiropractic, got into both, but ultimately chose chiropractic. And never in my life did I think this was going to be my career, nor that I would own a business and be operating that on top of it all. But yeah, here we are.
Jake.
All right. When I came into college, I didn't even know what a dietitian was. I came in as a pre-PT. My freshman year didn't go so hot, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I played football at St. John's for 4 years, go Johnnies. And, you know, I switched from defensive line to offensive line. And, you know, as offensive line, naturally you want to get bigger, and food kind of came into the scene. Like, can I just eat whatever I want, gain a lot of weight, lift a lot, eat a ton of protein and get jacked? And those were some questions that would come through my brain. And one of the nutrition professors, she retired now, Jane Byrne, she talked to me and was like, hey, I think you should be dietetics. You know, you can learn the evidence base and of the science of it, and you can, you know, make changes in lives. And she's like, on the plus side, you'd be like one of two guys, and the rest are bennies. And I was like, oh, that sounds like a great deal. So I, you know, decided to go for it. I changed my major last minute. I was actually just general nutrition and exercise science until the end of my sophomore year when I switched to dietetics. And that meant biochemistry. And I was like, I should get my money's worth at St. John's and try biochem, right? I don't want to take the easy way out with just general nutrition. So that's kind of what happened in my journey. And yeah, it's I'm really thankful for Jane talking to me, and, you know, it definitely helped in my athletics, learning what I should put in my body to feel, not only to get bigger, but like in the best way possible. So it's quite the journey.
Clean.
All right. So I had to see a physical therapist my senior year of high school. Didn't really know a whole lot about the profession until then, but still kind of went into college thinking biology, maybe like biomedical engineering, was kind of undecided. But then had some experiences with some individuals at school, Don in particular, and then the exercise science minor in those classes, and started observing a physical therapist more when I was home over Christmas break freshman year, and just realized that I kind of really enjoyed that. I liked that the time they got to spend with patients, and I played soccer at St. Ben's, so some of that, just how the human body moves, and yeah, so then ended up going more pre-PT and ended up at Iowa for physical therapy school, or grad school after.
Excellent. Jess.
I had a sports injury when I was a senior in high school, and I had surgery and then had to go through a lot of physical therapy. And at that point, I realized that I knew I wanted to do something in medicine, but I thought it was really cool that I spent a lot more time with the physical therapist, and the surgeons really didn't know anything about me. They just knew what I had done, and that was it. And then when I got to St. Ben's, I played volleyball, and then I started working in the training room and learned a lot of skills from that in the sports med classes that I took. And I realized that that was for sure the thing I wanted to do. So I followed, how did that go? I did an internship at St. Cloud Orthopedic for a semester and followed a couple PTs there, and then got into PT school at Mayo. So it was good.
Great. Again, looking out to the audience one more time. Oh, we do have a hand. All right.
What is some struggles that y'all faced in y'all college career, college experience, and how did y'all get over those hard times in college?
So the question was, what struggles did you experience? The question was specifically in your undergraduate time, but if you want to think about your graduate school experience as well, what struggles did you have, and how did you work your way past those to now be successful in what you're doing? And so, Jess, let's start with you.
Shoot, I was hoping I wasn't first with that one. That's a tough one. I think initially it was kind of a struggle to figure out how to navigate college because it's so different than high school. Like college, you're on your own and you've got 4 or 5 classes and then all this extra free time. So trying to manage your time, I thought manage my time was kind of tough. I was easily distracted. So I learned to spend a lot of time in the library because it was quiet and I could get away from those other distractions like in the dorms. Time management too was tough because it was there's so many things going on. So it was easy to get kind of caught up in other stuff. But I think I had a little bit more structure coming in because I played volleyball. I had like more things that were taking up my time. So I had to figure out that time management piece early on. And then in PT school, it's more like a job. So that transition was kind of strange going from 4 or 5 classes each semester to I was in school 8 to 5, 4 days a week, and then 8 to noon on Fridays. So there was no time for anything else. Like we hardly had, not that there's no time for fun, but it was a lot of like a full-time job and then a lot of studying. So that was a whole different ball game. But then I think that prepared me for life, and with a full-time job, going to work, then leaving work and having like adult things to do at home, like take care of your house and cook for yourself.
I can go next. Kind of, I mean, some of those similar struggles, but I think like probably the biggest thing was, I know I struggled with physics, was probably one of my hardest classes. I didn't click with me. So I think, what's great about St. Ben's, St. John's is that you can go and really talk to those professors. What what am I not getting? How can I study differently? Maybe doing more group studying. And so just kind of changing that aspect. But I think, like similar to Jess, I was involved in a lot of things. So having to be good about your time management, I think really actually helped then in grad school. And so that's one of the unique things. You can be involved in so much at a smaller schools. And I think that even though you might struggle at first, it can actually set you apart and really benefit you later in life.
I just want to pick up on one theme that Colleen just mentioned is you don't have to be good at everything. And that's one of the things, coming in as a high school student, many of you were successful in just about everything that you did, right? We get to college and everybody that's here was successful in just about everything they did. And so now you just need to find your niche and find the things that you're good at and accentuate those. Okay? And graduate schools still accept you. There's still a path for them. So, Jake.
Yeah, and that was great. That was great. A great tip, and that's kind of how my journey went. When like I said, I came in to St. John's, playing football, and I did track for winter and spring as well. I was on Tommy 3. If anyone lives on Tommy 3, you know what goes on around there. We love to have fun there, and my priorities were a little messed up. I was kind of with all the dances, there's fun things going on during the weeks. I just didn't have my priorities set. And it didn't really hit me until beginning of my junior year, where I have to get my stuff together and continue with football, retired from track, and I got myself a job kind of in my profession as a catering assistant in the spring. And just wanted to see if this is kind of what I wanted to do. That really helped grounded me, working late nights there and just trying to learn what I wanted to do. So, and when it comes to grad school, I did an accelerated coordinated program. So I did 1,400 hours of unpaid internshipping in a variety of different settings, as well as my master's, and all in 1 year. So St. John's really helped me learn how to balance school, girlfriend at the time during my master's, doing my 40 hours a week and sitting there writing a 100-page paper, right? So that was really beneficial. And, at the end of the day, what master's programs, being a PT, whatever the case may be, they want to see growth throughout college. And I'll be honest, like my freshman year, I had a 2.3, right? And that was not, I was going to be able to do anything, but they want to see the progress, and that's what master programs and post undergrad look for. So yeah.
Yeah, I will piggyback off that a little bit and just kind of say time management with everyone. But one thing I think that comes with time management was, especially like I was a bio, sports, exercise, and a lot of my friends were marketing and love marketing. However, you don't have the labs and all the extracurricular components to your classes, so you have more free time. So I think finding yourself and being comfortable with yourself and the path that you're choosing and doing what's right for you is part of that time management, and not conforming to with what everyone else is doing or fear of like missing out. But in the end, all of the time management from St. John's, I'll agree with everybody else, only helped me prepare for grad school. And when it comes to with chiropractic school, you have about 28 credits your first trimester, and it's like sink or swim, and it's a full-time job. And so I was really prepared and able to handle that load versus my other peers that were coming in without the same struggles of a more rigorous undergrad and managing all of those stresses.
And just for the students in the room, what you're hearing here is something I hear all the time from our grads. St. John's prepares you for that next level. You'll be better prepared than many of your classmates when you go to your master's programs or your PT programs or whatever graduate program you're looking to get into. So awesome. Any other questions for the panelists right now? Okay, we'll continue on. So now we need to think back to your undergrad days. And what course or what experience was most impactful for you? So it doesn't have to be related to your career, something that was most impactful that changed you. And then was there something that you wish you would have been involved in or that you wish you would have done that you didn't? Okay, so the best and something that perhaps you regret. So, Kelly.
I have two best. One is organic chemistry because I developed migraines, so I was struggling with that, but it led me to where I am today. So I kind of weirdly think it. B, my other one is studying abroad. I really wanted to study abroad, and it gave me an opportunity to learn things about myself, see the world, and ignite that travel bug in me. And again, not related to my field, but it created that passion of travel and love for exploring and seeing the world. The other thing I wish I would have taken advantage of is I was so science and field-based focused. I wish I would have learned more of like the marketing business side of life, because like I said, I own my own practice now, and this is stuff I am learning on the fly or learning from other individuals who are in this field. And so I think the more you can well-round yourself, even if you don't think it's going to pertain to you right now in this moment, you're going to have tools and things to pull from later in life, because you truly don't know where life is going to take you. So I think just kind of maybe I wish I would have broadened my horizons in terms of classes I would have taken while in undergrad.
Hey, Jake.
Yes, and I completely agree with the last statement. You never know where your life will take you, and just because we might be experts in our fields, there's so many things that come outside of life. My freshman FYS, he was a brother, and one of his sayings was always, I may miss a prayer or two, but I'll never miss a party. That's what he used to tell us in our first year. And he pretty much told us, like, life goes on. There's a lot of things that go on, but don't forget about outside of your profession. Like, you have a family, friends, you have to, stress is a big, impact on our lives. So make sure you find outlets. And that really stuck with me my freshman year. And I would say, two other things. Biochemistry was something that really got me into gear. Kind of the upside down classroom, learning, how the body works is phenomenal, and that just got me more passionate, even though it was hard work. And yes, studying abroad. So, a lot of majors are very strict with, the amount of credits. We want to graduate in 4 years, get on with our careers. I did a May term in Spain for 5 weeks, and if you decide to go to a profession where you have very strict classes, looking at that May term, just going on an adventure with lifelong friends, professors, is something that I'll never forget. So yeah.
Clean.
Okay, a couple, study abroad was a really great experience for me as well, for the same reasons as Jacob and Callie. I would say another impactful, I can't remember, I think it's a required class, or do you have to take a cultural down still, or?
So yeah, the curriculum has changed, but yes,
Okay.
a couple of different cultural classes that people have to take.
Yeah, so there was one basically on the Hmong culture that I took, and it just really made me think about different perspectives and your biases on things, and I think that's really good to have an understanding of that when you're in the healthcare field, and what health really means to other people and their views on it. And you have to go in as a practitioner. So even just interacting with people in your daily life on what their views are and stuff, I think that was just really impactful. And then also doing research with the exercise science department was a really cool experience, and was just eye-opening in different ways, and kind of set me apart from other students and colleagues at PT school.
So, Jess.
Okay, so most impactful. I mean, I think I got a lot out of working in the training room. I think that was really important for me to learn that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to help people, and at the time I really wanted to work with athletes. So that was great. But I was a biology major, and I don't know why I decided I wanted to take some plant biology and aquatic biology classes, which was really interesting, and I learned a lot. But I think that also pushed me more in like solidified my path into PT school, because if you're doing research on plants and aquatic life, you're kind of on your own. And I don't think I would have done well with that. So I'm glad I took those classes and learned those things. And I had a really cool job one summer with a watershed project, like testing water quality and looking for bugs. But then I went to PT school right after that. And then I wish I would have done a study abroad. I'm very disappointed that I didn't do that, but I felt at the time that I wasn't going to get enough. I didn't think I'd get the credits that I needed to graduate on time, which it doesn't make any sense. And I think if I would have asked, I wish I would have asked more and talked to my advisors more about that, because I think that would have been a really cool experience. And I really love traveling, and I've traveled a lot since graduating, and I think I would have gotten a lot out of a study abroad. So if you are in doubt of if you can do one, I would ask, and there's probably some way to get you out of the area for a while. Even the short ones, like the May term, I don't know why I didn't do something like that too.
Absolutely. And so just to pick up on something that Jess said, sometimes your best learning experiences are the things that don't go right, because you learn what you don't want to do, or that you, so even those are really valuable. So don't be afraid to try and do. Okay, so questions from the group. Okay, we're going to continue on. All right, so what recommendations do you have for current Benny Johnny students that are interested in going into your career field? What can they do to prepare themselves for this? And what can they do to perhaps make themselves stand out on a graduate school application or a job application? Okay. And we're going to reverse it again. So Jess, you're up first.
All right, I think one of the best things you can do is get a ton of observation hours in whatever you're going into. Like, look into all the different places where, I'm just going to talk about PT because that's what I do. PTs do a lot of things I had no idea that I could do. I didn't really understand that PTs could treat kids in outpatient and in the hospital, and they can, like nursing homes. I hadn't been into a nursing home. There's PTs that do cardiac rehab and neuro rehab, so like an inpatient neuro setting with patients with acute stroke and spinal cord injuries. So the more you see, the better. And I think that's something that schools look for too. They want you to have a good idea of what you're getting yourself into. I think the more things you're involved in and being a well-rounded person will help you as well. A lot of schools do interviews. And so they want to see, like, can you sit down and have a conversation with somebody you don't know for an extended period of time? And do you have the people skills to be able to work one-on-one with patients? I think the more things you try out, the better. And like, there's different clubs and different events, and just like put yourself out there and try everything. Now's your chance to dabble in everything.
Clean.
Yeah, those were kind of my top two, but I'll go just a little bit more in depth. I would say during your observation, ask questions, be attentive, because these therapists that you're probably observing, you'll have to ask for a potential recommendation. Okay, so stand out to them. I think also one thing that you can do in your field nowadays with social media and YouTube is really find some maybe top experts in the field and look at what they're doing and just expand your knowledge that way to learn more about the career. But otherwise, yeah, similar, just get involved, do different things, and be well-rounded.
Jake.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things would be kind of it's okay, right? So you know, there's a lot of people that come in knowing exactly what want to be. It's okay that you don't know. I feel like doing electives, trying classes that maybe your friends aren't in, but hey, go for it, right? You'll meet new friends. Trying a little bit of everything, right? is so important. And I think it's okay not to declare a major until, you know, maybe end of freshman year, end of sophomore year, and just try to see what you want to do, because this is gonna be, you know, your job forever, and we want you to enjoy what you do, right? So being patient on that, right? Even though grandma might say Uncle Billy knew he was going to be a salesman since he was 12, that might not be you, right? So just know that. The second thing, take advantage of the professors at St. Ben's, St. John's. Personally, the nutrition faculty were amazing. I had many times where I came in, I just liked, you know, talking to people at the time and still now, but going in, talking to them and just hearing their experiences. Everyone's journey is so different, and you don't have to follow suit, right? I personally didn't become a dietitian a couple years until after I graduated, just because I didn't know if I wanted to become a dietitian, right? So, you know, it's okay not to get an internship or go to a master's program right after you graduate, right? Not only is it if you're uncertain, but, you know, it costs money, right? So just knowing that it's okay, and you don't have to, there's not a certain line, right? You have your own journey. So.
And kind of like what Don and Jess said, learn from things you don't like, learn from things that you're like, okay, I didn't know we could do this, I don't want to dabble in that, but just be a sponge. But I think to even go off what Colleen said, stand out, but be personable, be empathetic, show you actually care, because that's going to carry you weight in the future. And then I'd say not only the professors, but reach out to the alumni. You guys have such access to the alumni in your database. Reach out to them, call, text. I think they still do those, like, correct me if I'm wrong, Don, but like those alumni reach out sessions, like in the city and like around, where you can like network with people. Reach out, call, be like, hey, do you have a couple minutes? I'd say, and all my friends say this from other schools, are like, St. Ben St. John's has one of the strongest alumni networks, and you guys are kind of a cult, and anyone will help each other out. If you're Benny or Johnny, it's like you're instantly bonded. So utilize it and reach out, and even if it's just for a phone call, maybe then a shadow opportunity, but that's typically how you're going to get your foot in the door later on after school. It's more about being personal and having the connections with people who know, or, you know, may have been there before you, and being a Benny or a Johnny doesn't hurt either.
Absolutely. So the XPD office is located over in Clemens Library. So if you go into Clemens, go to the left, the Experience Hub is over there. There is what we call Interaction, and there is the SEAM program, where you can get partnered with somebody who is working in your career field, or a career field that's very similar. There's also a database where you can go and search for Benny Johnny alums who are working in your career field, and you can make your own connection with that. So absolutely, Benny Johnny network is very strong and very real. So, excellent questions. Yeah.
The other two talked about like summer jobs that they did that helped out a lot. And I was wondering if there's stuff that the PTs did in particular that over the summer that might have helped them either learn if that's what they want to do, or make them stand out a little bit more.
Okay, so this question was directed mostly to Jess and Colleen. In terms of summer jobs, to make yourself stand out on a PT school application, is there something that you did or that you would recommend? Let's go, Jess.
I painted houses in the summer when I was in college, so I don't think that really did anything for me to get into school, other than I had to work as a team, and we all work together to get the job done. So I think that's something, any kind of job is going to look good for trying to get into PT school if you're working together with other people, because that's really important once you're in the field. And in grad school, they want you to be able to get along with your classmates who come from a lot of different backgrounds. So I've had some college students shadow me here, which is kind of nice. It's unpaid, but at least it's some experience. And the last one that shadowed me, he also had a part-time job, but then he was spending some time just getting hours in. So you don't have to have a job in like a medical field, but I think the more you observe and get into different settings where PTs work would be beneficial for you.
Colleen, do you want to add?
Yeah, I didn't have any specific. I think one summer I did help on the athletic training room. But like Jess said, just getting your observation hours and when you can, any job would look great. But sometimes you can find a position like maybe being a tech in an outpatient clinic, but that can be kind of rare for such a short time. But that's nice because then you can really get a lot of hours and you really get to develop some nice relationships with those PTs.
You could also get like a CNA certification and work in a hospital or a nursing home, and that would probably look good too because you're working with people of different ages and like having to care for patients and be attentive to patients and then work with other people in the medical field.
I was going to add, so I'm going to echo what was already been said, is that there's no one path, no one thing that grad schools are looking for. They want you to explain to them why they should care. So Jess did a great job painting houses, right? If you put on your application, I painted houses, so what? If you explain that I was a member of a team and we had to coordinate and we had to be at work on time, and sometimes we had to stay late, sometimes there was a mistake and we had to take responsibility and be able to fix it. Now all of a sudden grad schools go, that's the type of person we want in our program. Okay, quick side note, I had a student that was a manager at McDonald's. What the heck does being a manager at McDonald's have anything to do with PT school, right? In charge of a multicultural work team, had to be able to get to know every person on the team and where they come from and be able to get the team to work together. And then had to do all the customer service work of all the disgruntled people that came up to the counter that weren't happy with their meal or whatever, and be able to manage that conflict. Absolute gold to the PT programs. Okay. So there is no one path. Sorry, I thought I was a panelist there for a second. I just had to jump in. Okay, so let's see, where are we at for time? We got we have about 8 minutes left. Okay, great. So additional questions. Okay, so the next question then for the panelists, let's look to the future. What are what does the future of your career field look like? What are the opportunities or advancements that are on the horizon? What are the challenges that your career field is going to face? So I think we maybe left off with Callie. Let's start with Callie. I don't know where we left off. So
the career future for chiropractic is actually explosive. It's so many opportunities. Everyone's really trying to work as an integrative team, right? And everyone kind of brings a little something different to the table. And a lot of people are looking for natural pain solutions, not only just wellness, but like pain solutions. With the opioid crisis coming, chiropractic can immensely help with that. The challenge we face is getting the research studies, the case studies, the things published. We all have the clinical experience knowing this helps, but getting it acknowledged on a larger spectrum will come with time. The American Medical Association just recognized chiropractic as the #1 reliever for back pain over medications, exercise, diet changes, etc. So helping with low back pain specifically, chiropractic had the best outcomes in a published study. And so getting those research and studies it's coming, but it's slow but sure. So that's where like a holdup is, but working as a team and providing natural alternatives that don't require medications, pain solutions, health management, chiropractic is amazing with that. And we're just growing so fast. And like I said, we have orthos and PTs over at TCO, and they're like, well, we don't know anything to do with you. Come try the chiropractor. And they come to us and we're increasing range of motion, reducing pain. Their PT is finally taking off and expediting because it works so well together. And working as a team, we're just really getting that approach and patients getting better faster. So I think the research is what's going to hold us up, but I'm just really excited for where the future is going to go in terms specifically for chiropractic.
excellent. Jake.
I agree. Chiropractic's amazing. I have a bad low back, and chiropractor is the only thing that ever helped it throughout these last few years. So it's amazing. Yeah, they are amazing. I'd say the future for dietetics is very intriguing. I would say. I think there's going to be a huge barrier with the masters being forced to do a masters. But I think the opportunities are endless. Like I was saying, there's so many avenues you can go if you become a dietitian. Evidence-based practice, if that's something you're passionate about. I mean, every day food's changing. 10 years ago, eggs were bad for you. Today, eggs are amazing for you, right? There's never a dull moment. Every day is different. I would say one of the biggest challenge is kind of knowing what a dietitian is. Often we get called dietary or nutritionists, and a lot of people can kind of dip their toes into the nutrition realm. So like a lot of health coaches and stuff like that, but there's a very big distinction, and and that's not up to us as professionals. It's going to be more of a bigger umbrella with the academy trying to defend what we can do. But you are the highest level nutrition experts, and it's fun, debunking fad diets and talking about that. So I think that would be the biggest challenge moving forward here.
Clean.
I think the future for PT continues to be really bright. I mean, there's, we know an aging population, so there'll be plenty of jobs in the future. I think, like Callie said, people are looking for more holistic solutions, exercise, and being able to control your pain in not having to rely on pills and surgeries is really positive for people, and they're starting to take control more of their health. I think one of the challenges, especially I think is important for you guys to look at, is the rising tuition of PT school and compared to what we make, because we've also been having to deal with some reimbursement cuts and haven't seen those rise with other medical fields. So just be smart about where you end up going to school and what debt you might have, I think would be my piece of advice there for coming out as a physical therapist.
Not to interject, but ditto Colleen.
Yes.
I think that the referrals are going to keep coming in, and like Colleen said, people are getting older and they're looking for ways to manage their pain without putting things into their body. So I think we won't have a problem with continuing the profession and with the profession growing. I think one place that at the national level we want to go is to become independent practitioners. Right now, most of the time we have to have referrals from a medical provider, and we have the majority of us now, and I think all schools are putting out doctorates. So when you have a doctorate, it's an advanced degree, and we should have less limitations too. So trying to get insurance to pay for services without having a referral from a medical provider first is something in the future. And there are some insurances that are allowing that now. So people can come in off the street if their insurance will agree to pay for it. I think it's tough because medical stuff is expensive. And if your insurance isn't going to cover it 100%, people wait. And they wait until they've met their deductible before they try to treat any of their pains, and really they could probably get it taken care of sooner in the year. And
Great, thank you. All right, so we have 2 minutes left. Any last question? Any burning question? You can see like the hands have been going up the entire time I've been having to just like pick and choose. Is there any last burning question?
Maybe just a little bit about, I think it's Callie, about opening up chiropractic, how that process works.
Sure. So Callie, this question was directed to you about how you go about opening your own practice.
Yeah, it's definitely a labor of love. It's my third child. So you gotta be committed, time, networking, put yourself out there. You gotta be willing to take risks, but I think most importantly, you have to be committed to yourself, be believe in yourself, believe in the cause of like, why are you doing this? What do you want to achieve with it? There's a lot of things we could talk about and we don't have 2 minutes for it. So feel free to reach out to me privately. Happy to discuss anytime, but it's a lot and it's a huge undertaking. And my husband had to be on board, like full disclosure, in order to get my SBA loan, we had to sign over our house as collateral in order to do it. So, I mean, you're taking a huge risk to achieve something, but you got to believe and be willing to not half-ass it and go dive all in order to really pull it off. So we can chat more, but biggest thing, have faith in yourself, because it's a lot of an uphill battle, and learn from people before you and talk to people around you who have done it and learn from their mistakes so you don't have to pay the financial consequences for them. I'm sorry, I tried to be short and sweet.
No, that's great. It's perfect because we're right at 1:55, so we're right at the end of class. Alums, thank you very much for taking your time to speak with us today.